Boruto has shown to have not one but two omnipotent powers in the very first chapter of Blue Vortex. The way he appeared out of nowhere to stomp Code could be a hint of his space-time shinjutsu, and due to his awareness of Code's attack, it hints at him having a clairvoyance power similar to the Senrigan. So does he actually have these unique powers? And if yes, then how did he unlock them? Let's find out. The JOUGAN lore has been going on in this series from the very first episode. With every new chapter, fans expect the awakening of this mysterious power, and the first chapter of the time skip was no exception. Unfortunately, the eye did not make an appearance. However, the possibility of Boruto using it off-screen has increased a lot. This also means that he has already learned to use it if the awakening has actually taken place. In order to understand why the 5-page appearance of Boruto dropped some huge hints for the JOUGAN, we will need to figure out why Code expected Boruto to come out after his attack on the leaf. He did not take this step for the last 2 years, maybe because of Ida and Daemon, who could beat him in a matter of seconds. Also, Code is under the effects of omnipotence, so he's perceiving Boruto as Kawaki from the original reality. This means Code thinks that by seeing the leaf under attack, a rogue Kawaki should come back and reveal himself. This is where the things get interesting. I think Code was able to identify that something is wrong with Boruto when he not only used the karma of Momoshiki, but also a strange power that he had never seen before. The way Boruto talked to Code and even poked him about his fragile wrist, it seems to me that they have had a long history with one another. Code says that he had encountered Boruto 2 years ago, which means the meeting must have taken place a year after he went rogue. Maybe Code was sharp enough to figure out the inconsistencies of omnipotence, and Boruto might have made it clear to him that he's under the effects of a spell. However, the recent chapter clarified that a person under omnipotence tends to ignore and eventually forget the inconsistencies with time. Same must be the case for Code. However, after searching for Boruto around the globe, he finally decided to invade the Leaf Village to get him out. He told Sarada to scream as hard as possible so that her voice could reach Boruto. But how does it make sense? Unless Boruto was roaming around the village, it shouldn't have been possible for him to know what's happening inside it. So why did Code ask Sarada to call Boruto for help, if it was technically impossible for him to hear her? The irony is that Boruto actually appeared out of nowhere from the sky, and even stomped Code's face to express his dominance. It shouldn't be possible for Boruto to have such a perfect timing. So was it all a coincidence or something else? Well, I think Code must have figured out that Boruto is either around Konoha or is keeping an eye on the village from somewhere. The way Boruto made his entry can be taken as a clue for his omnipotent ability, the Clairvoyance. It's the power which grants the user an all-seeing ability and can only be manifested by the Senrigan. But the medium for Boruto to use this power is not the Senrigan, rather the dojutsu that granted him the space-time ninjutsu back in the anime. The JOUGAN helping him to not only see what Code is doing, but also to teleport above his head is a pretty huge possibility. Remember, Boruto is an Otsutsuki now, so it shouldn't be impossible for him to use such techniques. The only intriguing thing is that none of such powers can be manifested with Momoshiki's karma, which means Boruto's Otsutsuki connection is beyond Momoshiki. Remember how Himawari frightened Daemon in chapter 77? Well, that's what Boruto was meant to be, a prodigy who would immensely terrify the subject of an Otsutsuki god. But when Momoshiki started to overwrite his DNA, his natural Otsutsuki prowess got completely seized. So does this mean Boruto in the time skip was able to manifest his true Otsutsuki power, which granted him the clairvoyance and space-time ninjutsu? Well, the answer could lie in the title of the series, Blue Vortex, that we are gonna compare with the JOUGAN this time. If we take a closer look at this eye, we can see the formation of two vortexes, which might be what the title is referring to. The first vortex symbolizes the JOUGAN as the pure eye, which is unique to Otsutsuki Boruto. And the second vortex might be a reference to its quality of being the star of hope, as prophesied by Tonevi. It's also possible that the two blue vortex is a reference to the two eyes of Boruto. His left eye is a callback to his shinobi roots, and how he's devoted to this regime, even in the age of its extinction. The right eye, on the other hand, reflects his connection to the Otsutsuki world, and how he will deal with the curse of fusing with the monster. So how does it help us to figure out the awakening of Boruto's true essence? Well, the JOUGAN being referred to as the Star of Hope might unsolve some mysteries here. What if the power only awakened when Boruto was trapped in a helpless situation? The enlightenment of the Star of Hope when a person is completely hopeless could work out well for the plot. So if that would be the case, then I think we will also get the answer to how Code knew Boruto would appear if Leaf was harmed. What if Boruto and Sasuke faced off Code 2 years back, and when they got trapped in a situation where they couldn't save themselves, the JOUGAN awakened and teleported them to a safer place, similar to how it opened a portal to New's dimension back in the anime. While everyone is debating the fate of Sasuke, there is an interesting theory suggesting he's alive that no one is talking about. What if Boruto had faced Code alone when he fought him for the last time 2 years back? Sasuke's absence might stem from his decision of abandoning him after a few months into the training. The reason I think this way is because the omnipotence is said to make the victim accept the false reality, no matter how many hints prove otherwise. This means Sasuke would have been feeling a lot guilty for helping Boruto, only because the effects of omnipotence worsened on him. He might have then decided to separate his ways, hence leading Boruto to face off code alone. Coming back to the omnipotent powers of JOUGAN, could it be that Boruto learned to utilize this eye all by himself? Well, the eye being a power unique to the Otsutsukis hint at Boruto having an Otsutsuki mentor. He shouldn't be able to do miracles with the pure eye all by himself. So we have got 3 nominees who could fill the spot of Boruto's sensei in the time skip. At number 1 we have Momoshiki, the knower of different shinjutsus and the one who made Boruto gamble on his fate. As per the anime, Momoshiki knows about the JOUGAN and Boruto's Otsutsuki power. So if the eye reawakens in the time skip period of 3 years, Momoshiki must have given Boruto some insight on it. Suppose Boruto had unlocked the pure power against code. Could it be that Momoshiki guided him in teleporting to another dimension? I think the answer is yes, simply because Boruto is the lifeline of Momoshiki and he can't afford to lose him. So even if he requires to teach him a mysterious dojutsu, it's a fair deal if he's saving his life. Boruto is the only medium to reality for Momoshiki, so he can't afford to lose him at any cost. Not to mention the dojutsu does not always need the eye of the user to reflect itself. Momoshiki used his Byakugan in Boruto's eye socket regardless of the scar. This means it was predestined for Boruto to lose the right eye and replace it with another one. If Momo becomes the one who teaches the pure shinjutsu to Boruto, there must be some personal goal involved in it. So what could it be? Well, what if Momoshiki wants the omnipotent powers of JOUGAN for himself, so he would deliberately take such steps that will make Boruto's life more and more difficult, similar to how he let Kawaki free in chapter 78, leading to the omnipotence incident, or when he stabbed the Rinnegan of Sasuke after the Ishiki fight. Whenever he would get the chance of taking over Boruto, he would somehow make life harder for him. He has already done miserable acts in the past upon possessing him, so he could increase the bar of the nuisance for the greed of the JOUGAN. Secondly, we have got Kashin Koji and his role in Boruto's JOUGAN training after Sasuke abandons him. There are plenty of hints for Koji to become Boruto's mentor, and I would like to mention the one which stems from the Egyptian mythology. According to the myths, there once lived 2 Egyptian gods Horus and Seth, who became enemies after Seth killed Horus's father. Furthermore, Seth destroyed the eye of Horus, which was later healed with the assistance of another Egyptian deity, Thoth. Coincidentally, Thoth looks way too similar to Kashin Koji, which could be some peak foreshadowing by Kishimoto. It's further said in the story that Horus gave his eye to his father and its revitalizing power sustained him in the afterlife. Implying this in Boruto's case, it seems like the JOUGAN is gonna help him in bringing his parents back. The eye could help him to find the coordinates of the dimension where Kawaki sent Naoto and Hinata. So Kashin Koji being the one behind the JOUGAN training is not out of question. He also seems to dwell the same fate as Jiraiya by dedicating his life in finding the child of prophecy. There are even more hints about Kashin Koji being the mentor of Boruto that I have discussed in a previous video. The third person who could teach Boruto the JOUGAN would also solve the moon mystery from the promotional arc. I'm talking about Toneri, and here is a whole video about Boruto going to the moon to train with him. You can also check my previous Toneri video alongside the one where I explained the vital role of Kashin Koji. So don't forget to check them all out, and I will see you next time.